Hi guys, it's Kayla and welcome back to my channel. Today is Friday, and I don't know if this is going to become an every week kind of occurrence, but I kind of thought I would do a little story time video with you today about something that I've mentioned in passing on my channel, sometimes in favorites videos. I've mentioned things I've liked because of this, but I haven't really talked about it on YouTube, which is weird because I talk about everything. You know me, I'm an open book. I don't really keep secrets. I just talk a lot, and sometimes people are like, shut up, crazy lady. But today I'm going to talk about my journey with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, Hashimoto's autoimmune disorder, Hashimoto's hypothyroidism. It has a lot of different names. Autoimmune hypothyroidism. I think that's all of the names. There's probably more. There's a million names for it. But I know it is my dear friend Hashimoto's. Yeah. So I'm going to talk a little bit about diagnosis, just and how the past 4 years, my relationship with this disease and my body and food and all sorts of things have kind of changed. I really don't know how long this video is going to be, but I'm just going to kind of get into it. I'm going to ask that we keep the comments section a supportive, nice place, because that was something I really appreciated when I was first getting diagnosed, and looking at other people's experiences on YouTube was the helpfulness and the kind words in comments. And sometimes people are assholes, and that's a fact of it. And this is kind of, I'm gonna say some things that people are gonna be like, really? And I'd like it to stay positive in the comments, and I will turn comments off if it turns negative, and I have never done that before in my life. Every once in a while I'll slyly delete a comment that I don't want to see, which I'm sure some of you guys have noticed. But let's keep it positive. This is a personal journey that I'm sure others of you have experienced. And if you're finding my channel for the first time because of this video, obviously you found this video because we have something in common, or someone you love has something in common with me, and you were looking up information. And I want to make sure this is a positive place, because that was something I really cared for and needed when I was first going through my diagnosis. And yeah, so let's keep it thumbs up, you guys. Keep it positive. People who are watching this video might be hurting, might be scared, and I think that it's important that we create a positive atmosphere. I may be at a place where I am at peace with what is going on with me and my body and things like that, which I really probably am not. I have lots of questions still, obviously, as with any long-term disease. But let's be kind, be caring, because if you're finding this video because you were recently diagnosed, you don't want people being douche-hats. So let's just be kind. That's all I ask. Cool. So let's get into this. So the reason I'm making this video, and it's going to sound totally cheesy and lame, but that's who I am, cheesy and lame. This week on Dancing with the Stars was most memorable year week. I know. What? But it got me really thinking about what is my most memorable year thus far in my life, and why. And very quickly I was able to come to the decision that would be 2013, for a myriad of reasons, which I won't get into. You guys have been around since 2012 if you've been here since the beginning, and so you kind of know that 2013 was obviously a crazy year, for a million reasons, but we're here to talk about one of those. And that is that in the fall of 2013, after a crazy ride of doctor's appointments and not knowing what was going on, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's hypothyroidism. Actually, it was just Hashimoto's autoimmune disorder then. I didn't have hypothyroidism yet. It has progressed. Took a while, thank God, but it did progress. I mean, obviously in comparison to, my whole life, it was a very quick progression as, opposed to what the progression of Hashimoto's was. Yeah, so back to the beginning. It was, I want to say late September. Yeah, it was late September 2013. I was hanging out in my dorm with my roommate and our friends. We were playing Cards Against Humanity, probably because that's what we tended to do. on a random, Tuesday or Thursday night, just like chilling, playing games. And my lips started to swell, and I hadn't eaten anything suspicious that day. I ate like barbecue chicken pizza and oatmeal, and like I had a Diet Coke maybe, like things that I had had before. So it was very weird, but my lip was swelling, and my mom was like, I'm taking you to the emergency room. What if your airway closes? I was like, fine. I hate doctors. I hate hospitals. Until that night, I'd never had to go to the ER for myself, except for when I was like a baby and I got an ear infection when I was on vacation. But never had I had to really go to the hospital for me. And so I was like anxious and angry, and I was like, but whatever. So I went in. They were like, that's weird. We're going to give you some antihistamines and you should go see an allergist. And so I did. And obviously, if you know anything about Hashimoto's, you know that had nothing to do with any of this. And so that's what makes this diagnosis story so strange to me, is that I went to see an allergist to try and figure out why the hell my lip had swollen up, when I had only been eating like things that I'd had before. Like literally, I had a pizza I'd had several times before that night. I had ice cream right before my lips started to swell that I'd had for years. I went to Baskin Robbins. I've been to Baskin Robbins since I was a child. Like, there should be nothing that I've had in the past, in that past week, but especially that one day, that would have caused an allergic reaction. So I went to an allergist, and I told him all that, and he was like, well, I don't think I want to do allergy testing on you then, because you clearly know you didn't eat anything new that day. And I thought about it really hard. I was like, could I have eaten something? Like, I was at college, and when you go to college, you're obviously eating new things, and because you're eating cafeteria food, and who knows what's in that shit. But yeah, so I had no idea what it could be, and he had no idea what it could be. But in doing his just exam that he was doing to see, if my throat was okay, if I was, not swollen, if I was, my throat was swollen again or anything like that, he noticed that my thyroid was like pretty enlarged, which is like not a normal thing, obviously. So he ran some blood work, and in the time we were still there, some of those results were really fast, and not that they were complete, but like they were able to see that there was something. And we were sitting in his office talking about next steps, and he also diagnosed me with asthma. That's a different story. My allergist diagnosed my asthma. My allergist is just crazy, apparently. Found everything that my primary care physician would never have found. But he started saying the word Hashimoto's. My mom was like, my mom kind of had heard it before, but she didn't really know what it meant. I had no idea. I was like, huh? And so he was like, I think you need to just go and see your primary care physician, which of course I didn't have one at that point. I was like a perfectly healthy, so I thought 18-year-old girl, hadn't seen my pediatrician in like 5 years, obviously, and now I'm an adult, hadn't had a need to go to a like doctor regularly. I got bronchitis once every year, but that was I knew what to do. I go to urgent care, they give me a new inhaler, they give me new medication, and I'm off. So I didn't have a primary care physician, which obviously I needed. So that was kind of like, oh, good, I can figure that out finally. And so I went in, and he looked at the blood work, ran some more, which if you know anything about me, I hate needles. And so like all of this blood work was killing me. I was like, no more needles in my arm, please. And this was all like in the span of 2 weeks that I'd been in the hospital. I had gone to the allergist. I had gone to my primary care physician, who was also my parents' primary care physician. So it was like a doctor that we knew. So that was fine. And he ran the work, and he was like, I think you need to go get your thyroid ultrasound, obviously. So I did that. And they're like, yeah, it's a little big, but nothing like super concerning. Like, it didn't look, at this point, they didn't want to say Hashimoto's was for sure yet, because when there's something wrong with your thyroid, there's so many things it could be. They still didn't know if maybe it was cancer, and they could not tell yet until they had all the blood work back and they had looked at it. And then I went to an ultrasound tech. They were like, yeah, it looks okay. My doctor was like, let's also send you to a surgeon just because if I go to a surgeon to get it done, they could also, if they needed to biopsy it, they could do it just right then and there. And the surgeon was like, I don't need to. And so the blood work came back, and it was, decided officially, yeah, this is Hashimoto's. But still with like no really answers or like what to do's, because when it's just Hashimoto's autoimmune disorder, it's not really, I mean, it's affecting your body, obviously, and there's symptoms and ways they figured it out, but it's not like, no, it is it is hurting your body, but it's not one of those things like you can medicate yet. You can't really medicate it until your thyroid's like given up. And at that point, my thyroid was still working. It was still doing what it needed to do. And so there was like no answers. And that was really hard. So of course I went to the internet because as any, you know, millennial person does when they don't know the answers, the internet was there. And I found a lot of resources and information, and a lot of things I saw linked the thyroid and Hashimoto's to gluten and celiac disease and things like that. And I knew that I didn't have celiac disease. My doctors had always said, no, I have a family member who has celiac. And so when we found out he did, it was one of those things that all the family, like, they decided who they wanted to test and who they thought could have it. And it just never had been a thing that had come across for me. So, but then seeing that connection kind of like click something in my head, and I was like, well, and I asked my doctor, I was like, well, could this be a possible aid to feeling better, cutting out gluten, because it is so closely linked to celiac, and I do have a family member with celiac. And the doctor was like, yeah, you can try it. So I cut gluten out of my diet and felt 1,000,000 times better, which makes me think that I had some sort of intolerance, that maybe just had gotten too far finally, and that's part of why the lip happened and why I had been feeling just awful on top of all the Hashimoto symptoms. And so that was actually really helpful. It did a little bit for lowering my numbers of the antibodies, but not a ton. But it was helping me feel better, which was, you know, the biggest thing. So I did that. And I started to get really frustrated because I was living in the dorms. It was really hard and really expensive to eat gluten-free in the dorms. But I was making it work. Lucky for me, obviously, since I had that family member, holidays were easy because we'd already figured out all of our holiday recipes gluten-free for him. So I didn't have to be like the guinea pig or anything. That was his job. So it was a fairly easy transition, but it was frustrating because I didn't know if it was actually helping. And other than the fact that I like felt better, like stomach issues wise, which is just, has nothing to do really with my Hashimoto, it's just with like how my body processed gluten and how I feel better now not eating it. But yeah, so that I didn't see any really change in my symptoms, which was frustrating. Even though I was feeling better, I still, you know, I was having a lot of hair loss, which, I mean, you guys know I have a ton of hair. It is thinned out a crazy amount in the past 4 years. There's still a lot of it. You probably can't tell that it's thinned out a lot, but it really has. And I am constantly cold. I'm very sensitive to cold, which I had never been before. I was the kid who, like, in the winter when it snowed could go outside in a t-shirt and be totally fine. And now I mean, the heater is off in my house right now because we're all supposed to be at work, and I'm freezing right now, even in this sweater. So my body is not regulating temperature right, and it wasn't doing that either. And living in the dorms, we had our room set up so we couldn't really turn our heater on, so it was just like, freshman year was rough. But since then, things have started to get better. It had to get worse, obviously, before it got better. Last summer, so a little over a year ago, my doctor noticed a noticeable decline in my thyroid function, and so finally started me on medication, which was like killing me inside because I didn't want to be on medication. When you start thyroid medication, you need to be on it for the rest of your life in most cases, because as your body realizes it has the medication supplementing your thyroid, it kind of gives your thyroid permission to fail more, which means you have to up the dosage until finally you're taking total replacement. Right now I'm not on total replacement, which is great, but my medication levels definitely need to go up again. I can already feel that my symptoms are coming back, and I have a doctor's appointment in a couple weeks that I'm sure that my new doctor will say, yeah, no, you need to up your medication again, which sucks, but it'll make me feel better. The medication really did help. I was feeling great, and I now know, I can notice when I need to up my medication again, which I wasn't thinking I'd be able to, but the first time that my old doctor had to up it, I knew. I like came in and I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm not feeling super great. And he looked at my levels and he goes, yeah, it's time to up it again. So I'm a lot more attuned to my body now, which I think is really cool. Because I never had been the kind of person who like really was super in sync with my body, except for with my like chronic bronchitis. I always could know when that was coming. But other than that, I'd never been super like in tune with my body. I have a lot of other medical issues that came about that first section of college. That isn't even talking about my asthma diagnosis, my PCOS diagnosis. I had a lot of things happen all at once, my freshman year of college, which was crazy because I'd never been a sick kid. I really hadn't. I'd been very healthy. And so it was very weird all of a sudden that I was like diagnosed with this and this and this and this. But now I'm a lot more attuned to my body, which I think is really awesome. There are still hard days. There's a lot of pain involved with Hashimoto's for some people, and I definitely, more now than when I was first diagnosed, experience a lot of the pain, which is really hard sometimes, especially because I'm a substitute teacher, so I'm on my feet all day, which is great, because I'm moving around. And, so like I said, I'm a substitute teacher, so I'm moving around all day, and that's really awesome, just for my health in general, and being able to stay active and be on my feet longer hours, because it's something that for a while I couldn't do, when I was first trying to feel the pain symptoms, right before I started getting medicated. But it definitely is hard when the pain starts to come back, when I'll like, have a great day working, and then I'll come home and someone will be like, hey, let's go out. And I'm like, y'all, my back is not going to let me do that today. So that sucks. But when my medication is on, my pain is usually gone, unless I've, like been working out for a while and like I'm just sore, but like that's reasonable pain. That's not just like pain because I taught a second grade class, like I shouldn't be in that much pain after a day of teaching second grade. And when my medication's right, I won't be, which is awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. I'm still eating gluten-free. And I think I'm at the point with it, because my medication stalled, that it's not doing much, other than making me like not feel like I'm going to vomit every time I eat something. So I think once my medication's back, I'll start seeing more of the benefits of being gluten-free again. But right now it's just, keeping me not wanting to vomit. So like I said, I'm not doing good right now, but I'm doing okay, and I know what I need to do to be back to good, which is part of the challenge, is just knowing how to move forward. And I definitely do know that now. I know how to take care of myself. And that's a lot. Yes, thanks to my doctors for, being able to help me figure out what's going on and give me the medication I need at the right levels and give me ways to know when my symptoms are acting up. But it's also thanks a lot to my own research and my own dedication to making myself okay. So I want to share, as the last section of this video, I want to share some of my resources, just two of the most important ones to me. I obviously have used 1,000,001 resources, but there have been two that have been the most helpful to me. And one of them is this book, Hashimoto's Thyroiditis, Lifestyle Interventions for Finding and Treating the Root Cause. It's written by Isabella Wentz, who is a pharmacist who did some real research into this. And it just kind of helps dissect why you have Hashimoto's, because no one really knows like a specific like one reason why people get this. There's a lot of things that they think feed into it, and so it kind of helps you dissect why maybe you have Hashimoto's and how best to help you feel better. And I really enjoy that, because it helped me kind of dissect my symptoms and different treatments. I don't know. I've now realized some of the reasons why I may have this condition. My family history of celiac, leading to gluten intolerance, leading to issues with my thyroid, my body attacking my thyroid. I live in Washington State, so I'm vitamin D deficient. So there's just a lot of different reasons, and this book has been really helpful dissecting them. Another resource I really loved, and I wish I kind of wish I'd found it earlier in my journey so I could have used it more, is the YouTube channel Vita Lives Free. She also has Hashimoto's and like me, a myriad of other conditions on top of it, and she has chosen to try and treat it naturally and heal herself naturally, and it's been working out very well for her, and she makes some awesome videos on Hashimoto's and natural lifestyle and her other conditions, and just living free, which is really awesome, and she is incredible, and her videos are just addicting. Like, even if it's one that doesn't relate to me, I'll sit there and watch it just to like listen to her voice, because she's so like calming. And yeah, I really enjoy her channel, so I'll link that down below, and I'll link the Amazon link to this book below. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of share my story and my journey, which is not anywhere near over. If you have any questions, ask a doctor or leave them below. Or leave them below if there's something you think that like you want talked about with fellow people in your position. But I just want to share my journey to, you know, hopefully help others. But also just like get it off my chest, because I don't really talk about it very often, and I see a lot of Facebook like on this dates coming up from when me and my mom were posting about the diagnosis process, and so for me it's important to revisit it, and I feel like it was time to share my story. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, give it a big thumbs up and click that subscribe button if you're new, and I will see you guys on Monday. Bye!